What is the greatest lesson that you learn when that shitty situation happened to you? My name is Beatrice Achaleke, and I'm here to give you another 12 points of what will happen to you when shit happens. So you will better keep on. Don't stay. Make sure you watch the video right to the end, because right at the end, I have some really juicy tips for you. So let's move straight on to the 12 things that will happen to you when shit happens. So number one, friends will go away. People will abandon you, or you will have to let go of some people whom you have really cherished, whom you have loved. So when that happens, it's truly normal. People who have been in your space just because of they thought you are, or who you were before that situation happened to you, will go away when you're no longer that person. People who were there just to benefit from the influences that you had, the networks that you were in, the people, the kind of people that you talk to, the lifestyle that you had, or what the lifestyle that you have, or whatever benefits there were in that space. When they're no longer there, people will go. And what you have to do is just let them go. Let them go so you can rediscover yourself. And that takes us to point number two. Point number two is expectations will shift. They will shift in two directions. One direction would be of those who don't expect anything from you at all, because they think, she is down. He or she is down. She has fallen down. Shit has happened to her, and she has nothing more to offer. So they have no expectations towards you. The one that becomes really tricky is, especially when the shitty situation has to do with cash flow. If you run out of cash flow like I did, then you will know that the expectation will be, the other side of expectation will be very high. If you have dues that you have to meet and you can't meet them on time, institutions like banks, like your landlord, or people to whom you may be owing some money, may really become very nasty. Nasty in the sense that they may put a lot of pressure on you to produce what you don't have, to pay in what you don't have. So in that situation, you really have to be open with yourself. You have to be transparent. You have to be very communicative to the point where it pains. You have to really play a game of transparency. They may not always understand you, but as long as deep inside you know you're playing that open game, it may really make you feel better, manage the stress and the pressure that may come with that kind of expectations. Number three is, it is time for you to finally meet your true self. I said in my previous videos, if you haven't watched them, please go watch them. You will notice that I mentioned when shit happens to you, sometimes it is because you're in a space that is already completed. You're in a relationship that is complete, but you're still forcing it, you're still hanging in, you're in a house that no longer meets your need, you're still forcing it, you're driving that car that is long that has long served its purpose, and you still keep hanging on to it, and then you have to do so many repairs, or it sometimes it just doesn't drive, and you have a breakdown on the street, maybe because you're in a job that is no longer satisfying you, that is no longer meeting the purpose of who you are, and so you need to let go. So when someone passes, even when someone passes away, I have learned to understand that it is the universe way of reminding us that we're still alive. It's a reminder of the gift of life, that we're still here, but it also reminds us of our mortality, not immortality. It reminds us of our mortality. So there's a reason for which that shitty situation is happening to you. And when it does happen, it is the real time to touch base with yourself. You touch base with yourself to find out, who are you becoming because that is happening to you? Okay, who do I become after this situation? And so it's something that you really want to work on, because it will really determine the next version of you. The decisions that you make at this point are very, very crucial. Who are you becoming? Are you becoming a bitter person or a better person? Are you looking for lessons in what is happening and trying to wake up and run faster? Or are you looking for people to blame? I don't want to go very deep into that, but I'll go rather to point number 5, which is, when shit happens to you, you get the chance to experiment. When you finally meet yourself, you begin to experiment on your ways on which to stand up and run. How do you get back on your feet and run faster? What lessons do you need to take along with you? Whom do you need to take along with you? You have to really be creative in experimenting. You have to come up with different solutions, with different possibilities. You have to think well ahead of time. Proactive thinking is very much important here when you want to get back on your feet and to run. So the next thing you want to do when you have redefined yourself is, when you have found creative ways of how to get back on your feet, is to redefine yourself, redefine your purpose. Who is it that you want to become? I'll give you two examples right here. Example number one has to do with my mom, my aunt, who is at the same time my mom. That's a story that I may tell you why she's my aunt and my mom at the same time. But when her only son passed away, my brother, when he passed away of because of epilepsy, what she did is she immediately transformed what looked like her breakdown, the passing away of her only son, into a collective breakthrough. How did she do that? By redefining her purpose. How did she redefine it? She decided to set up a foundation that bears the name of her son, and through that foundation, she has been doing great research in Cameroon on epilepsy, and through that foundation, she has been able to help so many other children. She has raised awareness on the disease. So you see how she was able to transform what looked like her breakdown, what was like a shitty situation in her life, into a collective breakthrough, not just for herself, but also for a lot of families and children in Cameroon and in many African countries, by redefining her life purpose. She wanted to become a champion, someone who raises awareness on a disease that exists and which, not much was known about, and which was stigmatized, which was a kind of stigma for families that went through it. The second example has to do with the Princess of Africa, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, who besides her music, she is an ambassador, goodwill ambassador of UNICEF, goodwill ambassador for Rollback Malaria campaign. And, she got into that. She decided to become a goodwill ambassador for the Rollback Malaria campaign when her background singer died of cerebral malaria. She says this was a turning point in her life when she decided to redefine her life purpose from that tragedy. And so she decided to become a goodwill ambassador, and she has been raising a lot of awareness about malaria. Recently, she took, in 2010, she took out 5 years of her very intensive musical career life and went across Africa and met women and children who have suffered from malaria or who lost someone from malaria. And she raised a lot of awareness. She came back with a lot of new knowledge, with a lot of, the feeling that she was doing something good for someone. Those are just two examples. And my personal example, when shit happens to my life in Europe, I decided to radically move back to Africa. And within the last 3 months, I have been able to write within the last 3 years, I have been able to write 8 books. And I rediscovered my purpose. I was born to write. Even though I write with a lot of typos because I'm dyslexic, I am a born writer. So I could redefine myself and tap into that purpose and start writing books. And some of these books have been approved for schools. So they're going into schools to actually change lives. So this is how, when you start redefining your purpose, so much more can happen. You can find something that you're really passionate about that you wouldn't have found had that shitty situation not happened to you. Okay, let me run quickly to number 7. Number 7 is you make new friends. Once you let people go, when you let situations go, you will realize that there's so many people there who are just waiting to meet you. And the good thing about these new friends is that they are on the same page like you. They are like-minded people. There may be people who have been in that situation before, some who are in the situation with whom you can, kind of hang out together, learn from each other, clean it up together and move further. Or some will be people who have already been there and have cleaned it up and moved, so they have some experiences from which you can learn. Now, in this point, I want to tell you something which is very powerful from my Ubuntu philosophy. You see, this space is the closest to your eyes, and you can't even see it. It's the closest. It's your blind spot, yet it's the closest to your eyes. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes some of those new friends, some of the people who will help you stand up and bounce forward easier, are very close to you. And you may not have been seeing them because you were in that other lifestyle. You were in that situation that just crumbled. So now that you're getting back on your feet, you want to pay attention to them. So this means you have to be proactive in looking for new friends, in looking for new alliances, in looking for like-minded people and people from whom you can learn valuable lessons that can allow you to bounce forward quickly. Number 8 of what will happen, the things that will happen to you when shit happens, is that when you have touched rock bottom, when you have been right down there, you deactivate fear. You stop being afraid of any situation because nothing else can happen to you, which is as serious as the one that you're in. So whatever you can do is bounce back forward. You can bounce forward. That's all that can do. When the ball drops right down, the next thing is it bounces up. So no amount of fear will change your reality. You learn to put it aside because you have gone through it. You have gone through it. And when you put fear aside, you're able to really tap into the power of who you truly become, and you can do many more things. So I could tell you a lot of things about fear, like the fear of bouncing forward, the fear of failing, like people will say, the fear of learning lessons, the fear of letting people go. All of that is something that you will be able to let go once you have hit rock bottom. Hey, listen, when miners, I like to use the example of miners. Miners dig into the mountains, they dig deep into the ground, past all kinds of dirt to look for gold and diamond. And when they're right down there and they've found their little gold or their diamond, the next thing they know is they have to come back to the earth. They have to bring their gold back to the earth. So they fear nothing down there when they have their gold. It's coming back. So when you have hit rock bottom, what you can do is, the logical thing is to bounce forward. So you tend to be in a good position to deactivate fear. Number 9 is the big chance of bouncing forward. I think I mentioned that before. Once you have found the lessons inside what happened to you, once you have redefined your purpose, once you have found creative ways on how to bounce back, once you have found new friends, the next thing you have to do is bounce back. Bounce back with that purpose. Just like my auntie bounced back with the purpose of creating a foundation and helping families and children with epilepsy. You can do that as well. Just like the Princess of Africa, Yvonne Chaka Chaka, bounced back with leading the rollback malaria campaign when her background singer died. You can do that as well. Just like I discovered my writing skills and started writing books, Africa for Smart Kids, the book series, when shit happened to me, you can do that as well. So you can bounce back big when shit happens to you. That's your next chance. Number 10 is you learn to value yourself and you learn to value friendships. Remember in the beginning, I said some friends will leave you, some friends will let you go, or you will have to let some friends go. But those friends that will come to you because you're in that shitty situation, those are the friends that value you. Those are the friends that will give you a hand, reach a hand to you so you can stand up and bounce forward. Those are the friends on whose shoulders you may stand up on so you can bounce forward. And those friends, you really learn how to value them because they picked you up from right down there when you hit rock bottom. So they will give you every reason to value yourself through the friendship that they offer you. So point number 9 is you will learn how to value yourself and through friendships. Some of this friendship may last until when you get to the next life turning point. Life is not a straightforward road. It has a lot of corners and a lot of bendings and all of that. So each time you get to that point, you know you have to let some people go so you can let some more people in with whom you can continue your journey to the next turning point. Number 11 is humility. My goodness. When you are right down there and you see how people treat you and you realize how communicative you have to be, the kind of strategies that you have to put in place in order to maintain your dignity, in order not to lose your self-pride, in order to still stand up in spite of whatever shitty situation is happening to you, in spite of whatever challenges, in spite of all the commitments that you can meet, in spite of all the expectations that are channeled at you, that are pointed at you, and you can't meet them. When you get there, you learn humility. You learn how to really be humble with yourself, with people around you, with the decisions that you make, and with the way you communicate with the world around you. So this is a very important asset in life, humility. And I learned a whole lot of humility from Nelson Mandela and from women like Winnie Mandela and some of the powerful African women and men and some world leaders that I have had the chance either to meet or to read about their life stories. So humility is something that really comes to you when you hit rock bottom, when shit happens in your life. Number 12 is the game of gratitude. I can't say this enough. The game of gratitude. When you've lost everything, when you have lost everything, and you are about to rebuild your life, to redefine your purpose, you learn to appreciate. You appreciate little things of life. You appreciate your baby steps. You appreciate people who lend you a helping hand. You appreciate people whose hand you hold in order to stand up so you can bounce forward again. You appreciate the little acts of kindness that people show you. Above all, you appreciate yourself. You appreciate the baby steps that you make. You appreciate life. I mean, not the big vision, but you appreciate the every step of life. You appreciate still being alive because, hey, how many people didn't wake up last night? And you did wake up. So uh, that gratitude, the game of gratitude is something that you really learn. You get to learn the hard way when you hit rock bottom, when shit happens to your life. So if you love this video, I will be very grateful if you subscribe and you share with your friends. Remember, you may help someone, you may shine a light in someone's dark corner by just sharing this video so they can learn some of these lessons and get back to their feet and bounce forward. Of everything that happened to me, the shitty situation that happened to me, I mean, I wish it couldn't have happened. That would have been. But I realized that it really made me grow. It made me become grounded. It made me learn all these lessons of life so I can share them with you. Today, I'm still cleaning up my mess, but I can say I'm a much better person today. I am much more of who I think I was born to be. And I think you can be that person too if you make up your mind to learn the lessons and to move forward. So now let me ask you a question. What is the biggest lesson that you learned when shit happened to you? Or what is the thing that you love to do when it happens to you at any one moment? Please share your comment below. And if there is a topic that you'd like me to share my thoughts on, my lessons learned on, I would love to just put it on the comment box below. And I promise you, I will pick it up and then give you my answers as we go on. So again, thank you very much. My name is Beatrice Achaleke. I am the author of the book Shit Happens, How to Transform Your Individual Breakdown into a Collective Breakthrough, which is available on Amazon. And I am the founder of the GloBUNTU Mindshift system. I look forward to sharing with you again in my next video. May your day be filled with magic.